There were hundreds of thousands of poll workers monitoring the 2020 U.S. federal election. Not one of them has spilled the beans. There were cameras everywhere. No incriminating footage has been found. Sophisticated computer equipment running audited software recorded everything. No tampering was detected. 62 lawsuits were launched by the loser, sad. No evidence was uncovered. There are two options. Option 1. The Democrats are James Bond movie caliber criminal masterminds. Or, Option 2. There wasn't any fraud. In 1856, Eunice Newton Foote announced experiments demonstrating water vapor and carbon dioxide absorbing heat from the sun. 3 years later, Tyndall in the UK pointed out that infrared wavelengths were the culprit. In 1896, Arrhenius developed an equation to predict the temperature rise of our atmosphere due to rising carbon dioxide levels. Our carbon dioxide output has increased by 784% since then. There are roughly 1,400 tide gauges worldwide. They tell us the oceans have risen by 25 centimeters since 1880. This is because the average temperature of Earth has risen by roughly 1 degree Celsius since 1880. There are two options. Option 1. The climate change advocates are James Bond movie caliber criminal masterminds. Or, Option 2. Sea levels are rising. In December 2019, the severe acute respiratory syndrome, i.e. SARS-CoV-2, was detected in Wuhan, China. It quickly spread due to spectacular ineptitude and ended up infecting over 770 million people and killed roughly 7 million people. Hospitals were overloaded and are still recovering. COVID deniers say the epidemic was faked. That would require the creation of 770 million fake patients and the faking of roughly 7 million funerals. There are two options. The COVID pushers are James Bond movie caliber criminal masterminds, or there was a COVID pandemic. In 1969, a stream of laser pulses were directed at an area of the moon where Apollo 11 astronauts Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong were installing a reflective array. Once the returning pulses were detected, the astronauts were contacted, telling them they were successful. The array was augmented in 1971 by Alan Shepard and Edgar Mitchell on Apollo 14. 2 more reflectors were added by robot rovers Lunokhod 1 and 2 launched by the Soviet Union in 1970 and 73. We still use these reflectors today. There were 400,000 people employed by the Apollo program, and over 20,000 industrial firms and universities were involved as well. However, a large number of people still say the lunar landings were faked. There are two options. The lunar landing organizers are James Bond movie caliber criminal masterminds, or those are Buzz Aldrin's footprints on the moon.